Today, I would like to talk about the blue wave in regards to the Senate race and the political contest horary forecast. So to start off with, the U.S. Senate has 51 Republicans and 49 Democrats, including 2 independents. There are 35 seats up in the 2018 election, including special elections in Minnesota and Mississippi, of which 26 are held by Democrats. The party will need to gain 2 seats to take control. A consensus outlook for the 2018 Senate elections based on the current ratings of Sabato's Crystal Ball, the Cook Political Report, and Inside Elections forecast roughly 50 Senate seats won by Republicans, 44 for Democrats, with 6 toss-up races. So let's discuss those 6 toss-up races. Well, they're going to pretty much decide the outcome and fate of the Senate race for both the Republicans and the Democrats. The 6 toss-up states are Arizona, Florida, Indiana, Missouri, Montana, and Nevada. First, let's talk about Arizona. GOP candidate Martha McSally seems to have consolidated the Republican vote rather quickly after winning her primary election, but her Democratic rival, Kristen Sinema, opened a narrow lead over McSally for most of October. However, the comments from Sinema suggesting that Arizona was the meth lab of democracy and that she didn't care whether a libertarian interviewer joined the Taliban certainly haven't helped her prospects in this red-leading state. Those statements hurt her in the polls, resulting in undecided voters giving McSally a second look. The political contest horary indicators show that McSally has gained renewed momentum in the race and has caught up with Sinema in a virtual tie based on the most recent polls, as many undecideds are beginning to break Republican. In the Florida race, Democratic Senator Bill Nelson holds an extremely narrow lead in state polls, but this race is very close. However, his GOP challenger, Florida Governor Rick Scott, is extremely well known. A high-profile governor who has campaigned as of late recently gained the necessary momentum, giving Nelson the stiffest re-election challenge to date. Odds makers have Nelson, the incumbent senator, with a 70% chance of winning. However, the latest political contest horary snapshots show that there is more play in this race over the next 2 days, as undecideds begin to break 50-50 between both candidates. The next race is Indiana. And this is another race where Democrats looked for the past summer to be in very solid position, but that position has deteriorated substantially. Since Brett Kavanaugh won the nomination, incumbent Indiana Democratic Joe Donnelly, who voted against them, but still leads in the race, has really struggled since Kavanaugh's nomination to keep Republicans within his voter base without depressing Democratic voters. The latest set of polls show a tied race, and Donnelly is well below the 50% in a state where undecideds strongly approve of Trump. This late game scenario is not what an incumbent Democratic senator running in a red state wants at this point in the election cycle. Assuming that the latest political contest horary snapshot of the Indiana state race is accurate, Donnelly is in deep trouble. In regards to Missouri, Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill was on track to losing her re-election campaign back in 2012. But the GOP-nominated Republican Representative Todd Akin, who later claimed in an interview that a woman could not get pregnant as a result of legitimate rape, lost. This time, it's clear based on the political contest horary indicators that McCaskill's luck has run out. For the state has swung dramatically toward Republicans, with Trump winning the state in the 2016 general election by 20 points. Also, McCaskill has a solid Republican opponent in Attorney General Josh Hawley. This race has lived up to its billing as one of the closest Senate races in the country. Neither Hawley nor McCaskill has a lead of more than 4 points in a single poll for the entire year, placing this race well within the margin of error. The undecided voters are strong Trump supporters, and the political contest horary is indicating they are going to come out in strong numbers in this volatile election. The next race, Montana, seems to have tightened for the incumbent Democratic Senator John Tester, being up 2 to 4 points in a state Donald Trump won by 20 points. Again, this is not where a Democratic incumbent wants to find himself a month before this election. However, Tester is a good fit for the state both culturally and to a lesser extent politically. The political contest horary indicates he still maintains the edge in the current political environment going into Tuesday's election. However, expect this to be a much closer than anticipated race as he faces Republican State Auditor Matt Rosendale. Nevada. Nevada's Democratic trend has increased since 2009 due to the massive influx of progressive California transplants that moved to the state after the 2008 financial crisis. Therefore, Democrats are very optimistic about their chance in Nevada in the 2018 midterms. Their candidate, Jackie Rosen, won an open seat in a swing district in 2016. Republican Senator Dean Heller narrowly won against the flawed Democratic opponent in 2012 and was trailing his opponent while taking in just 40% of the vote 2 months before the election. However, against all odds, Heller has opened a slight lead over the past week. The political contest horary snapshots indicate this is going to be an extremely close race that will be transitioning from toss-up status to leaning Republican by Election Day. So in general, from what I can see, the political contest horary forecasting Senate control essentially indicates that Republicans will beat their polls by at least 2.5 points in the most competitive Senate races and will have a much clearer edge than Hillary Clinton had before the 2016 election, where Trump had roughly a 3 in 10 chance to win the Electoral College. Based on my assessment of the Senate contest horary charts over the past 3 months, Democrats will need a near-perfect midterm performance to take back the Senate. They will need to overthrow at least 2 Republicans in competitive states while protecting nearly all the Senate Democrats running for re-election in the states that President Trump won in 2016. The most problematic of these races for Democrats are Missouri, Indiana, Nevada, Arizona, and Florida. There's also a small chance of a loss for Democrats in Montana, West Virginia, New Jersey, and the Minnesota special election. Since Labor Day weekend, we've been hearing about the blue wave. However, in recent days, we are hearing of a Republican red tide based on the early voting where Republicans are leading, and due to a boost of enthusiasm due to the Trump midterm rallies and the strong economy and job numbers. The other political influence that must be taken into account in the outcome of the midterm elections is the Trump factor. This is because there is no question that Trump is the most disruptive force in politics in the history of U.S. politics. Yes, you heard that right, in the history of U.S. politics. For Trump has torn every political playbook since day one, and his political survival over the past 2 years in office after a failed attempt soft coup by the deep state is a modern-day miracle. Not to mention that his polling numbers are even to President Obama and President Clinton's, both presidents who won re-election handily. Trump's most powerful weapon so far has not been the insult, which he certainly has been willing to use most effectively, but running on ideas and finding that a lot of Americans outside of California, that is, essentially agree with him on the big issues facing the nation. So to conclude, as of today, as of this moment, Nevada is the only seat that Democrats could flip. On the other hand, North Dakota and Missouri, along with Indiana and Montana, could flip to the GOP. In a worst-case scenario, the GOP could end up with 52 Senate seats, but more likely 55 based on the scenario indicated by the political contest horary. And here is a map of what I'm projecting now using the political contest horary, where we're seeing around 45 Democrats to 55 Republicans based on the current political contest horary forecast. That could change between now and Tuesday, and I will do continuing snapshots again at my website and my blog. You can look up the current state of the races, of the Senate races, of the most closely contested elections, and compare the political contest horary assessment probability against the FiveThirtyEight by Nate Silver, PredictIt, CNN Politics and Political, along with Real Clear Politics. And what we're showing is upsets, major upsets in comparison to most of these pollsters and political forecasters. I think the closest race to date from what we can see is the Nevada race, and also followed by the Missouri race. we are also seeing a very close race in Indiana. So all in all, again, we see a 75% probability that right now of the Senate remaining Republican, and with the Republicans gaining several seats, pushing their current number up to 55 Republican seats. So I'd like to end it there, and thank you very much for listening to this. And I'm open to all questions and commentaries. I will make additional commentary and answer some questions tomorrow at a Facebook Live broadcast. And we will also do a final review on Monday on several other closely contested races in the House, specifically Washington 5th District and Iowa 3rd District, along with taking a second snapshot review of both the Florida and Indiana Senate races. Thank you very much.